And she's doing it all with vigor and with grace. That's because Kamala Harris is a grown-up. And Lord knows we need a grown-up in the White House. Someone with the maturity and fresh ideas to keep moving our country forward. Kamala is the only candidate in this race who has outlined a clear set of policies, including focusing on lowering costs and reducing drug prices for all Americans.
Donald Trump's worst nightmare has officially come true because today in Michigan, Michelle Obama hit the campaign trail for VP Harris and Donald Trump to shreds. And what was the best takedown of this entire campaign? And Donald Trump is spiraling Michelle, and Barack Obama have a special place in Donald Trump's head to drive him crazy. And this speech today did exactly that. And I cannot wait to get into it. But before we do, if I can quickly ask you to leave like on this video. And if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way and it really means the world to me. Now let's get into this incredible speech from Michelle Obama.
Because when you lay out the options, this choice isn't even close. But whether it's online or in the media or in our social circles, there are folks who say they're not sure about Kamala. They accuse her of not providing enough policy detail. Some wonder, do we really know her? Is she too aggressive? Is she not aggressive enough? There are folks sowing seeds of doubt about whether she's who she appears to be. Now, don't get me wrong. Voters have every right to ask hard questions of any candidate seeking office. But can someone tell me why we are once again holding Kamala to a higher standard than her opponent? We expect her to be intelligent and articulate, to have a clear set of policies, to never show too much anger, to prove time and time again that she belongs. But for Trump, we expect nothing at all. No understanding of policy, no ability to put together a coherent argument, no honesty, no decency, no morals. Instead, too many people are willing to write off his childish, mean-spirited antics by saying, well, Trump's just being Trump, rather than question his horrible behavior. Some folks think he's funny. And if you remember, that's exactly how he got elected the first time. Folks gave him a pass and rolled the dice, betting that he couldn't possibly be that bad. And then there were those folks who didn't think it really mattered who the president was, if you can believe that. And still others who thought it'd be a good idea just to blow up our entire democracy. Let us not forget how badly that worked out for all of us. Let us not forget the incompetence and the corruption, the chaos that was the cornerstone of his entire 4 years in office. Let's start with the pandemic. Remember how woefully unprepared he was, how he was sowing seeds of fear and confusion, endangering lives with his lies and ignorance, denigrating the doctors and scientists trying to help us. You want to talk about plans? Well, my husband left him a very detailed pandemic plan. And you know what he did? He ignored it. He had no clue how to get us out of that crisis. No ability to bring back the millions of jobs we lost so suddenly. No idea how to get our students back into school safely. No attempt to help stem the epidemic of loneliness and isolation that too many of our young people are still dealing with. And his failures had real costs.
I am so glad that Michelle Obama isn't just focused on Donald Trump, but also calling out the media bias in this campaign. We saw Times in the Washington Post, both owned by billionaires, failed to endorse VP Harris because we know that the media leans. Right. We know that the biggest podcast and the biggest news channels are all pushing Donald Trump's propaganda at this point. And I'm so glad that Michelle Obama called that out. And then, of course, returning to some Trump takedowns as we see right here.
So I hope you'll forgive me if I'm a little frustrated that some of us are choosing to ignore Donald Trump's gross incompetence while asking Kamala to dazzle us at every turn. I hope that you'll forgive me if I'm a little angry that we are indifferent to his erratic behavior, his obvious mental decline, his history as a convicted felon, a known slumlord, a predator found liable for sexual abuse. All of this while we pick apart Kamala's answers from interviews that he doesn't even have the courage to do, y'all.
Such an incredible job driving home the message of this campaign, driving home Donald Trump's incompetence, driving home Donald Trump's lack of character, driving home how unfit Donald Trump is and the cognitive decline that we see from him every day, as Michelle Obama talked about in this clip right here.
She's putting herself out there fearlessly, facing down even her harshest critics. She's seeking out Republicans to find common ground. And unlike her opponent, she's not ducking interviews or cowering in safe spaces only with fawning audiences. No, she's showing us what a sane, stable leader looks like. Train of thought or stumbling over her words, and she's doing it all with vigor and with grace.
I love to see the gloves coming off. We need no holds barred. We need to go all in on the offensive in the last few days of this campaign, and that is exactly what Michelle Obama is doing. Glad to see the way that she is calling Donald Trump out, dissecting him so perfectly. Of course, we saw this at the DNC from both her and her husband, Barack Obama. And we know how crazy they drive Donald Trump, especially when Michelle Obama is calling out for his disgusting and disgraceful attack on our democracy, like she did right here.
This was just the tragic exclamation point on his disastrous presidency. Installing judges and justices who have now stripped away our reproductive freedoms, cracking down on protesters marching to protect their sons from being shot because of the color of their skin, rolling back protections for LGBTQ Americans, fanning conspiracy theories, unleashing hatred in our communities. And then, when the American people fired him from a job that was too big for him to begin with, he tried to steal it, egging on a violent mob that breached our nation's capital. And when told that his own vice president was in danger, you know what he said? So what? So what, y'all? He said, so what?
No one can deliver these speeches like Michelle Obama can. She is operating at a different level in calling out Donald Trump. But of course, the focus is not just to bash him. We know who Donald Trump is. We know his failures. We know his attacks on our democracy. What we continue to talk about that is so important in the final days of this campaign is talking about Vice President Harris and her character, her accomplishments in her vision for our country, which is exactly what Michelle Obama did right here.
And she's doing it all with vigor and with grace. That's because Kamala Harris is a grown-up. And Lord knows we need a grown-up in the White House. Someone with the maturity and fresh ideas to keep moving our country forward. Kamala is the only candidate in this race who has outlined a clear set of policies, including focusing on lowering costs and reducing drug prices for all Americans.
Of course, alongside talking about Vice President Harris. Incredible character and the leadership that she has demonstrated not only in this campaign but during her entire career in politics. We want to talk about the vision that she has for this country, the vision of a brighter future where rights are protected, not stripped away, where we're building out our middle class, investing in working families, investing in American infrastructure, investing in lowering the cost of prescription drugs, making living more affordable for everyone. And of course, like I said, with protecting those rights comes the issue of abortion, which VP Harris was talking about yesterday in Houston with Beyonce, but of course Michelle Obama was hitting on it as well in this speech, as we can see right here.
So do you think Donald Trump is thinking about the consequences for the millions of women who will be living in medical deserts? Does anyone think he has the emotional maturity and foresight to come up with a plan to protect us?
One of the most important, if not the most important policy issue in this election, and Michelle Obama doing such an incredible job making the case not just on that issue, but on all issues really, that Donald Trump does not care about. He doesn't care about me. He's running for himself to stay out of prison, to serve his rich friends, and to serve Putin as well. That is what Donald Trump is focused on, and he's running away from questions about just that. And it's what Michelle Obama called him out for, and this clip right here.
I mean, think about it. No one could have predicted the way everything would have unfolded this summer. And yet, in a critical moment when our country needed her, Kamala couldn't have been more prepared to meet that moment, and she's met it every single day since. Yes. Oh, she's filling arenas in a way we haven't seen for years. She's building a remarkable campaign in record time, dominating her opponent so thoroughly in the debate, he was too scared to face her again.
Just an incredible series of takedowns, an incredible speech from Michelle Obama in the pivotal swing state of Michigan. And last night, what did Donald Trump do in Michigan? Oh yes, he held his crowd for 3 hours as he was late to arrive to a speech that was just weird and ridiculous. He ended up dancing to a Maria. So I think that the voters of Michigan can pretty much see the clear contrast in this race, and that drives Donald Trump absolutely crazy. And we know what happened last time. Michelle Obama absolutely devastated him. In a speech, he was all complaining. He was whiny. He had a little fiffy hurt. We can see that right here.
Did you see Barack Hussein Obama last night? Take little shots. He was taking shots at your president. And so was Michelle. You know, they always say, sure, please stick to policy. Don't get personal. And yet they're getting personal all night long, these people. Do I still have to stick to policy?
I am sure that there is steam coming out of the ears of Donald Trump right now. He couldn't be more furious that Michelle Obama not only ripped him apart, but in one of the most important swing states in this election, getting people out to vote in Michigan. So important. And we're going to be talking about that every single day on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And if you're a Michigan voter, speaking of which, let me know if you've already voted for VP Harris. Everyone in the comments is going to thank you so much. And until next time, I'll see you soon.